where we could be alone between city lights. We don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in a secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in a secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. It's good to be with you here on a Sunday afternoon, or whatever time it is, wherever you are. Thank you so much for being here. All 109 of you. What's a strong beginning? A strong beginning for the stream. Billy Ocean, no, I have never done a Sunday live stream in a wife beater and boxer shorts. Not as far as I know. If I had, I'm sure someone would remember and tell you. I usually am wearing a FPV themed t-shirt. This is actually my least favorite color of FPV t-shirt to wear, although maybe with the purple background it'll look better. It usually blends into the room with the brown carpet just a little too much. But we'll see how it looks when we switch to the face cam in just a minute. But I always like to have that moment where I feel like Howard Stern, where I've got the studio cam looking down on me. I don't have Howard's hair. I don't know how Howard Stern has kept that beautiful, beautiful head of hair into how old must he be now? Like 65? I don't know. It's probably a wig. But you know, Michael Jordan went bald and everybody thought he was pretty cool. So, you know, I feel like I'm more a Michael Jordan than a Howard Stern. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. If Howard Stern's wearing a wig, it's a god darn good wig. It is a gosh darn good wig. It looks a lot. I mean, he's got the money for a great wig, so I need a wig. Yeah. Anyway, how you guys doing? Well, we got a lot of moderators in the chat today. James is here. James, Mike Bergman, Ghost Branch FPV, a lot of good people. Del Squancho is here. Del Squancho, I can't see your name without thinking of Squanchy from Rick and Morty. Don't look that up. if you don't already know what that is. That's not okay. Don't look that up. Oh, Ciati is here. What's up, bro? What's up? I want you guys to know, you're lucky that I'm here today. You're lucky that I'm here today. And the reason you're lucky that I'm here today is because my son has been playing Rimworld for the last week. He said, I need some extra chores. I want to buy Rimworld. It's $35. It's pretty expensive for a game for a 10-year-old. I said, Rimworld, are you sure you want to play Rimworld? I shouldn't have done this because, well, you know, if the kid wants to play Rimworld, you should let him play Rimworld, and maybe he'll love it. Why just kind of squash his dreams? I said, I've seen people play Rimworld on like Let's Plays, and it looks super complicated. It's this survival simulator game. And I said, I just feel like I would be overwhelmed with all the mechanics. And he said, oh, yeah, well, maybe I won't play it. And I immediately felt like shit. I was like, oh, that's bad. Bad father. I was like, you know what? You should play. I'm sorry. I take it back. You should try it. And he loved it. He freaking downloads a million mods. And anyway, he was like, so then he got his mom in. He's like, you should play this. His mom starts playing it. I'm like, well, shoot. I guess we're all going to start playing Rimworld now. So now I've been playing. For the last like 17 hours. I've been playing Rimworld. Didn't sleep I slept a little bit last night. But yeah, guys, I was up to like 1 a.m. playing Rimworld, and then went to bed. Woke up, went downstairs, made a cup of coffee, opened up the laptop, started playing Rimworld again. And about an hour ago, I was like, oh crap, I got a live stream. And then I thought, oh, Rimworld live stream. And then I thought they wouldn't appreciate that. And so, you're lucky I'm here. You're lucky I'm here and I'm not monitoring my settlers over in Rimworld. Rimworld, R-I-M, Rimworld. It is if you ever played Factorio, it's kind of like Factorio in its mechanics, although it's not a factory building game. For those who are wondering. It's a little bit like Stardew Valley, except it's randomly generated. It's procedurally generated. In that you manage crops and resources, and there's combat. It's if you've ever played Dwarf Fortress, it's less complicated than Dwarf Fortress, but that's not saying a lot. Anyway, it's my little plug today for Rimworld. $35 is a lot for, but it's a good game. Anyway, we're here though. We're here to talk about FPV. We're not here to talk about Rimworld. We're here to talk about FPV. Yeah, Terraria. I could see it's got some comparison to Terraria or Minecraft a little bit. Yeah, it's in that genre. So, we're here to talk about FPV though. I'm going to answer your questions. I'm going to answer your questions here in the chat. Scott Milano, I agree. I got hard into Factorio. Here's how hard I got into Factorio, and I'm not making this up. My very first save game, I took all the way to the spaceship. Literally. Now, I'm not saying I did that like in hardcore mode with no saves and reloads. I made some mistakes and I had to reload and back up at times. But I've heard that there are people who start playing Factorio, get to like the mid-game, get overwhelmed, and then quit and start over. And I never did that. I just kept going all the way to the spaceship. I had exactly one save file in Factorio. That was pretty cool. I got a lot. How many hours do I have in Factorio? I'm scared. Let's look together. Then we'll talk about FPV. Steam is loading. Hold on. Steam has to load an update. We're going to answer your questions here in the YouTube chat. We're going to answer questions from these beautiful people here in the Discord. What? That GIF is unacceptable. I don't know what's happening there, but I don't like it. these guys over here are my patrons. Of course, I have to pay attention to them. And if you want to leave a super chat, hit the $ down here, leave a super chat, and I will read those super chats. That's basically the best way to make sure that I read your question on the stream, is to leave a super chat. I love this guy. This guy is so vaguely weird and inappropriate, but also hilarious. He's great. He has a video where he pulled with a quadcopter, he pulled a tablecloth off from, anyway. Factorio. Is Factorio even installed at the moment? It's not. How much playtime in Factorio? Hello? Where is Factorio? I'm sorry, what? Why was it not there? 243 hours. That's a lot of playtime. Okay, that's one save game. 243 hours. Pretty good. Let's take some questions. Let's take some FPV questions. You got to ask FPV. Let's look for an FPV question. What do y'all think? No, don't know. Oh, yeah, DRL is free on Epic Games right now. If you guys don't already own DRL, go ahead and download DRL on Epic Games. It's free. That's cool. Jeremy Sarge, life isn't all about FPV. You gotta have some things that aren't FPV. JD Jacob in the Discord is signal boosting a question from the YouTube chat. I'm looking for a script that compares what needs to be changed in a diff file between Betaflight 4.2 and 4.3. I know the script you're talking about. I'm sure I can find it. Here it is. It's got to be here. This is... Hello, Chris Rosser. Here it is. This is it. JD Jacob, but just in case you were looking, here it is. And here it is in the chat. That's what you're looking for. SoCal FPV wants to know, will flying 20 packs a day burn me out or make me a better pilot? SoCal, I would say that if you are a racer, then 20 packs a day is rookie numbers. Not that you can't be a good racer on 20 packs a day or less, but like the folks I know who are serious into racing will put in 20 or 30 packs and say, I wish I could have flown more. I think racers take it a little more seriously. Well, I think by definition. In that a racer will show up and they will just do pack after pack after pack. They won't have, whereas freestyle pilots will show up, they'll fly a pack, they'll sit around, they'll talk, they'll look at somebody else flying, they'll go, I don't know. Freestyle pilots have a little bit more social time in their practice, whereas racers often are a little more focused, depending on how seriously they're taking it. Whether 20 packs burns you out or not depends a lot on your stamina, though. Some people would get burned out on 20 packs. It just depends on how excited you are about flying and how fresh you keep it. I think that if you were not flying those packs fairly aggressively, and I don't mean aggressively like while you're flying you're going bonkers. What I mean is if you're going to fly 20 packs, let's say each pack is 4 minutes, okay, of flight time. That seems about right for less for racing, maybe a little more if you're flying lightly. Let's say 4 minutes. So 20 packs times 4 minutes is 80 minutes. 20 times 4 is 80 minutes of flight time. That's over an hour of flight time. Now, if for each of those packs you take 5 minutes to get back up in the air, right? That's 5 times 80 is 4. 5 times 80 is 400. That's 400 minutes of sitting around. No, I'm sorry, that's 80. 5 times 20. I could tell I was screwing up there. Let's say we're doing 20 packs. 5 times 20 is 100 minutes. So now you've got another hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes of just sitting around. And that means that to do 20 packs a day with 5 minutes in between each pack and 4 minutes per pack, you're going to spend 2.5 to 3 hours, right? That's a lot of time to spend every day when you got other shit to do with your life. Unless, now, if you're Min Chan Kim and that's your life, great, spend 8 hours. So I think if you're going to do 20 packs a day, you have to like have 20 packs charged and ready to go at the beginning of the flight session. You got to sit down with a clear goal for what you're going to work. Now, that's another place where racers have an advantage. We could title this section, Why Racers Can Fly 20 Packs a Day and Freestylers Can't. Racers sit down and they have one thing that they're going to do today. They're going to fly a course. The course is set up. They're going to start flying it. Now, they may focus on smoothness in one pack. They may focus on pre-turning in another pack. It doesn't mean that they're not focusing on different things, but a racer has a clearly defined thing that they're going to work on. It's the course. Whereas a freestyler is like, you may say, okay, I'm going to work split S's or I'm going to work dive gaps today, perhaps. But sometimes you're just going to be like, I don't know, I just want to fly. So I would say if you're going to do 20 packs a day and not burn out, number one, go into the practice session, packs charged, ready to go, so you don't have to spend any time dicking around. You can land, get another pack on, get back up in the air. Be mentally fresh, rested, ready to go, because you're going to be going for maybe an hour and a half. Have a goal for your training session, a thing you're going to work on. You know, I'm going to work on dive gaps. I'm going to work on getting this line right. Something you're going to work on. And then I would say also make sure that at least some of the time you're breaking it up. Don't spend, it'd be like if you were a musician and you just spend an hour and a half playing the same scale over and over again. Then you're going to burn out. So break it up a little bit, keep it fresh and spend at least a couple of packs just flying and having a good time. Don't forget to have a good time. So I think the biggest challenge with 20 packs a day would just be the sheer amount of time it takes. Okay. Good question. Good question. Jeremy Sarge wants to know, why is it that if you have your compass misaligned, it causes pitch to change when you rotate your craft in the iNav craft animation and probably real life? Well, Jeremy, I agree that if your craft doesn't rotate right in the 3D animation, it is also going to screw up in real life. So definitely don't fly like that. I can't give you a very detailed answer, but the short answer is that iNav is synthesizing all of the sensors that it has to determine the craft's orientation. And what I can't tell you is exactly how it synthesizes those sensors. I don't know the answer to that, and I wouldn't know that answer for Betaflight either. It's just a detail of the code that I don't know. But it's got the gyro. Think about it. When the craft first powers up, if all you had was a gyro, maybe you would assume that the craft was flat and level. And by using the gyro to detect, we rotated 90 degrees, right? You could use the gyro to detect the rotation of the craft and estimate its position. And in fact, I know for sure that Betaflight does this. For example, if Betaflight doesn't have a compass, then it will assume that the craft powers up facing north. If you turn on the compass heading indicator in Betaflight, it will work even without a compass. It just assumes you're facing north when you plug in, and then it estimates the rotation of the craft using the gyro. Now, that estimation is subject to drift over time and will get off over time, but it does its best. So you got the gyro, you got the accelerometer. That tells you the direction of gravity, and that's just, there you go. Now you know which way down is. But then you've got the compass and other sensors that tell you the orientation of the craft. And the compass is used to tell the orientation of the craft. If you tell the flight controller that the compass is oriented like this, and it sees that the compass is rotating, it's going to assume that the aircraft is rotating, and that's what you're seeing happen there. The bottom line is that all your sensors need to be oriented correctly, or the quad is going to fly weird in a way that may not be easy to predict. That's the answer. You might think, well, the magnetometer should only give you rotation along the yaw axis. Well, what if your magnetometer was rotated like this and your quad was flying like that? There's these weird permutations that could exist. Yeah, good question. Good question. Got a question about the stream stalling. Everything looks good on my end. I have no dropped frames. Everything looks good on my end. If your stream is stalling, go ahead and just reload, I would say. Can I take 1 second to just speak about scammers? And in fact, maybe this can... I want to talk about scammers for a second, and this would be a great content for my Livestream clips channel. If, in case you didn't know, I have a Livestream clips channel where clips from my live stream are cut out. If you want the highlights from my live streams, go ahead and subscribe to that. Obviously, I'd love you to watch up my whole live stream, please. But there's all these... Hang on. I just got a message from somebody. Can I... Hang on 1 second. Let me pull this page up. Where's my inbox? Can I see my inbox? Not my profile. Oh my God. Inbox. Ah, yeah, here we go. So this person sent me this screenshot, and it's beautiful. So, these people are all over YouTube, not just my channel, doing these Telegram scams. And it's every time I do a giveaway, they descend on the trying to scam people. And they say, telegram me. And then I want you guys to see an example of what the conversation looks like. In this case, the unsuspecting victim even said, but Joshua says he will never ask you to pay shipping or any other fee to claim a prize. And the scammer says, yeah, no, but the delivery company requested it. Like, I can't, the balls on these people. They're, the first set was free. This set, you have to pay shipping. And what they try to do is they try to get you to pay them for shipping for a prize by pretending to be me. Or they have a frickin' PayPal donate to Susan Obimo. What a bunch of bullshit. Like, first of all, if your scam alert doesn't go off, is my name Susan Obimo? Okay? If your scam alert doesn't go off, be a little more suspicious of the world, because, like, your scam alert should really be going off here. But I get it. It looks like my account. They've taken my username. They call it Joshua Bardwell Official. They've taken my... So here's what I want you to see. No, wait. Listen. Here's what I want you to see. Can I see my... I want to find a comment. So I can show you here, right here. Every month's new no, it's just Joshua. Do you see that right here? Here, I'm going to zoom in. Do you see that right here? There is an outline around my name. Okay? And there is a check mark to the right of my name. That means that this YouTube account is verified by YouTube. I had to send them a picture of my driver's license to prove that I am Joshua Bardwell. When you see a YouTube account with an outline around it and a check mark, that means that that is officially the owner of the channel. Okay? That's how you know that you're talking to me. Okay? When you see another account down here named Joshua Bardwell Official, that's not me. Because it doesn't have an outline and it doesn't have a check mark. Okay? In addition, I run my giveaway, and that's true for every YouTube channel, okay? The scammers are all over YouTube. If you're not being messaged by an account with a check mark and an outline, ignore it. They're scamming you. In addition, I specifically run my giveaways in a way to avoid scams. The way I run my giveaway is you give me your email address, then I email you at that address and no other way. And I email you from my official email address. And I also don't ask you to pay shipping. I pay shipping when I do prize giveaways. I don't ask you for any money. I can't imagine a circumstance where I would ask you for money. Like, I can't imagine. Okay? So, don't get scammed. I ban the scammers as fast as I can. They always pop up faster than I can ban them, though. And that's just life. So, okay. Little PSA about scammers. I do have Telegram. I don't use it for any official purposes, and I don't give out my Telegram ID because I don't use it for official purposes. Okay? All right. You know, I get it. A lot of people in the world have to make a living, and one of the ways they make a living is by scamming rich Westerners or poor Westerners who are rich by their standards. I respect, I sympathize that there's people out there in the world who are extremely poor, even compared to the poorest people in the United States. These people are even more poor than that. And I absolutely, if let me put it this way. If I was walking behind Jeff Bezos on the street and like $100 bill fell out of his pocket and I picked it up and no one saw me do it, I probably wouldn't tap him on the shoulder and go, "Excuse me, Mr. Bezos, I think you lost this." I'd probably just be like, "Jeff can afford it." I get that. You know, so scammer's gonna scam, but don't get scammed. Okay. Let's continue with the stream. Are you even sure this is the real Joshua Bardwell right now? I mean, could this be Blunty with like a deep fake of me someday? It's coming. Let's take some more questions. Let's check the super chats. So we got super chats coming in. We got a super chat from Noit, $5 Canadian. Hello, I am Bashua Jardwell. I am a Nigerian prince. The old Nigerian prince scam. Eric Ashner, thank you for a $2 super chat. Eric says, you ask us for money every live stream. That's different, Eric. That's different. I will not ask you for money to claim a prize that you won. You understand the difference? Like for shipping or anything. I ask you to join my Patreon every live stream. It's linked below, like in the official, yeah. Anyway. Okay. I just feel bad. I feel bad. But there you go. It was a test. He dropped it on purpose and would have given you $1 million if you returned it. If it was Mr. Beast, I'd believe you. If it was Mr. Beast, I'd believe you. But not if it was Jeff Bezos. Which simulator would you recommend for beginners to practice? Asks Champ. Champ, if you're trying to do multi-GP style racing, there's no question in my mind that Velocidrone is the best choice. If you want to just have fun, I would say that a Liftoff is the one I go to quite often. Any of them can be fun. I think that Liftoff and DRL are my two, depending on the style of racing I'm interested in. I have a lot of fun with both Liftoff and DRL. Those are the three big ones for me. There's some others out there, including some free ones that can be fun. DRL has a tutorial, it's true. Uncrashed is pretty solid, has some big environments. With Liftoff, you can fly in my yard. I don't think there's a bad choice, and I don't think there's a clear winner, except to say that if you're interested in multi-GP style racing, Velocidrone, I think, is a clear winner. There's free ones. Is Uncrashed free? I can't remember. I think the free, it was the Orca simulator. FPV Skydive was the best free simulator in my roundup. DRL is currently free on Epic Games, so definitely get that. Even if you're not going to play it right now, just download it, get it in your library. Stellar FPS, thank you for a $5 super chat. Eachine EV200D or Cobra X? Stellar, Cobra X is clearly better, but 200D is cheaper. So that's the answer. If you can afford it, Cobra X. Quinn SS. Oh, this is a great question, and I worry that I'm going to get the answer wrong, Quinn. So, chat, help me out if I screw this up, okay? Quinn SS asks, what does the Sky Zone Mix 1, 2, 3, and Div mode mean? And does RF normal mean diversity? Does RF steady view mean mix? Thanks, please answer. Okay, Quinn, I'm going to start from the things I'm most confident about and move to the things I'm least confident about, okay? Div means diversity. 100% sure about that. Oh, good, good. We're off to a good start. Diversity means that the signal comes in both antennas. The receiver looks at which antenna has the strongest signal and then uses that antenna. And every so often it checks to see which antenna has the stronger signal, and if that has changed, it switches. Okay? Now, there's two problems with this. One is that in the moment when it switches antennas, it interrupts the signal. You'll see this as kind of white flashes while you're flying. And the other problem is that sometimes it would be better to combine the signal coming from both antennas in an intelligent way, as opposed to switching between them and only listening to one at a time. So that's where we get to mix. That's where we get to mix. So mixing does two things, okay? Mixing does, it does what I call frame combining, where it tries to take the good parts from both antennas and intelligently sort of weave them together into one good frame, as opposed to switching back and forth between the antennas. So with mix mode, you do not have any more white flashes from diversity switching, okay? And it does something called sync reconstruction. Sync reconstruction, to understand sync reconstruction, an NTSC or PAL, an analog video signal, is made up of frames of video information, and each frame is separated from the next one by a sync pulse. And the sync pulse says the next frame is about to begin. And that sync pulse has to be kept up with. If that sync pulse is missed, the whole frame is missed. You'll get rolling image. It'll read the frame, but it'll overlap or interfere with the output, and it won't line up right, and you'll get rolling screen, you'll get black and white, it'll mess up the image. So the sync pulse is extremely important to displaying the image. If you catch the sync pulse, but then a little bit of the signal is messed up after the sync pulse, you'll still get a pretty clean image. It'll be stable, there'll just be a little bit of static in it or disruption. So what the mix mode does is it does sync reconstruction. Sync reconstruction means that it detects the spacing of the sync pulses. And if a sync pulse is missing, the module will fake a sync pulse so that the screen can display the image with a little corruption, but at least it'll be stable. Okay? So frame combining and sync reconstruction are the two major functions of the of the steady view mode. And by the way, that's the same as what rapid fire does. It's the same as what fusion does. These are what we call frame combining or sync, whatever you want to call it. They all do these same things. They don't do them in exactly the same way, but that they do them. So with the steady view mode, you get no diversity flashing. You just get a stable image with no diversity flashing. And you get an image that will not roll when the sync pulse gets interrupted. Sorry about that. But there's a problem. The problem is that some cameras do not have a consistent sync pulse timing. Okay? So instead of going bump, 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 exactly however many frames per second that it's supposed to be, the camera might go bump, 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 bump. I'm exaggerating, but the sync pulses are not consistent, and that means the frame timing is not consistent. And if the display is simply listening for the sync pulses and then showing the image, that's fine. But when you have a module that's doing sync pulse reconstruction, the module will always be on the right timing. Oh no, some sync pulses got corrupted. The images, okay, the module starts recreating the sync pulses with perfect timing, but the camera is actually drifting. And that means the sync pulses that the module is creating are not actually in the right place relative to the incoming signal. And what happens then is you get a rolling screen. The exact problem that you're trying to solve. So, and this is not a problem that's unique to the steady view receiver. This is a problem that TBS Fusion and Rapid Fire have both had to solve, and they've pretty much solved it. What they do is, when the sync pulses go away, they keep recreating the sync pulses, but then if the sync pulses don't come back, they're like, forget it. Okay, forget it. We're going to stop doing that. And then the screen just has to do its best to find the sync pulses, and maybe they're there, maybe they're not. But the idea is that if you keep, let's say I start a tempo. Now I'm going to stop the tempo, and I want you to keep clapping at exactly the same tempo. And we're going to come back in 45 seconds and see if you've drifted. Will you have drifted? Probably, right? That's what happens with frame reconstruction. So what they do is they call it a sync lock time. The shorter the sync lock time, the faster the module will go, okay, we're not going to do that anymore. We're not going to recreate the sync pulse anymore because we're probably drifting. Okay? And that is, so steady view is mixing mode, where it does frame combining and sync reconstruction. And the mix 1, 2, and 3 have different unlock times, different lengths of time where it will try to preserve and recreate the sync pulses. But if it goes on too long, then the image will roll and it won't look good. Okay? Now, which should you use? Rapid Fire, I know, had a very long sync time at first. And the problem was it would hold on too long and the image would drift and roll if you have a camera. See, the thing is, if you have a camera that has a rock solid frame timing, then the sync lock could stay as long as it wants, and it would be a good thing. The problem is that when you have a camera that doesn't have consistent frame timing, you want that sync lock to be shorter. And Rapid Fire found that shortening the sync lock significantly gave better all-round performance. So I don't know whether Mix 1, 2, or 3 has the shortest sync lock time, but I would pick the one that has the shortest sync lock time. Some people have pointed out, thank you, Ton Likes Analog in the Discord. Some people have pointed out that SteadyView is also reported, I don't know if this is true, but some people have said that it has problems with PAL signals, that it works great with NTSC, but it doesn't do well with PAL. So if you have a SteadyView and you're having a problem with it, try switching your cameras to NTSC and see if it helps. Great question. Probably a longer answer than was really required, but I hope you enjoyed it. And if you need to repeat the explanation, you can check out my Livestream clips channel. I'm sure that will be going up in the next week or so. Quinn SS, what I would say is use Mix 1, and if you get rolling screen sometimes, then try Mix 3. And if that fixes it, then great. And if that doesn't fix it or makes it worse, then your only option is to go back to diversity, or try switching to NTSC and see if it's better. Cat and Bry says, I feel like all the mix modes are identical on mine. They're all fine or problematic, depending on how they feel. Yeah. So this, unfortunately, this is a problem that every module that does sync reconstruction is subject to this problem. And it's just a question of how bad they let it get before they fall back to diversity and stop doing sync reconstruction. But when tuned correctly, the results are quite good. RapidFire has done a great job with it. I almost never have this problem with my RapidFire module anymore. MKFPV, thank you for a $5 super chat. I need to invert my arm switch due to ExpressLRS thinking when I arm, my quad is disarmed. Why does ExpressLRS need to know if the quad is armed? MKFPV, one place that it needs to know the quad is armed is with dynamic power. If you're disarmed, it turns the output power down to a low value to save, I don't know, save power or something. There are various other reasons why they want to know that the quad is armed, though. I'm not, one of them is if you have, the, no sync on lock, no sync on arm. What is it called? Where it doesn't send the sync packets when you're armed, only when you're disarmed. That would be another thing it needs to know when it's armed. But MKFPV, you don't need to invert the switch. Just go into your mixer screen and change the weight from 100 to minus 100. The channel will invert, but the switch will be as you like it. There's no reason for you to invert the switch. Frank Luna, thank you for a $10 super chat. The amount of knowledge I've gained from your Learn Something today is well worth this $10. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Frank, for the donation. Very much appreciated. Cat and Bry, who is an ExpressLRS dev, is helping with some other things that I didn't think of. It disables the buttons on the OLED module if you have a menu in an OLED screen. It changes VTX admin, etc. Hey, Cat and Bry, I got a question for you. You don't have to answer in the chat, but as long as I'm thinking about it. Have you ever run into a situation where the VTX admin is overriding smart audio? Maybe that's the intended behavior. I was playing with VTX admin once. I changed the ExpressLRS VTX admin to Race 8, then forgot that I had done that. Then I was using a different quadcopter, and I changed it in the menu, in the OSD menu, to Race 1. And then all of a sudden, it changes back to Race 8. I'm like, what the F? Is that how it's supposed to work? Well, we'll see if he answers. He can answer privately if you'd rather. Mike Curran, thank you for a $5 super chat. I know this is a dumb question. No dumb questions. Only dumb people. Does the SpeedyBee app work with any version of Betaflight? I was going to start using it. I mean, Mike, if you go back far enough, you could probably come up with a version of Betaflight that's so old that it doesn't work. But that's also true for Betaflight configurators. So I don't know where that cutoff would be, but it works with all modern versions. Captain Bry says, yes, the ExpressLRS VTX administrator always overrides your settings on every RX Connect. That's how it's supposed to work by design. Yep, okay. Well, now I know. I mean, in theory, I could see the advantage that you go into ExpressLRS and you say, I want to be on race 8, and then every quad you power up automatically goes to race 8. That does seem like an advantage. I just wasn't expecting it and was confused and had forgotten that I'd done it. And was like, why are all my quads jumping on race 8? It's so weird. All right, well, as usual, just a little bit of education so you can clear up what you should be expecting things to do. Pavo Christatus, thank you for 11 pounds. You may point me towards your Patreon during your stream, but for every $1 I spent on Super Chats and Patreon, you've saved me $50, unlike a Nigerian prince. Thanks, dude. Thank you so much, Pavo. Appreciate your donation. Potkas, thank you for 14 ZAR. I got this wrong last time. Oh, ZAR is South African Rand. It was SAR, maybe. Thank you for the South African Rand. Is the Nazgul 5 V2 4S still good in 2022? Hell yeah. Frankly, the Nazgul 5 V2 these days, freaking $259. $259 for a bind and fly quad is a freaking steal these days. I mean, it used to be that you'd pay $180 to $200 for this quad. No, maybe not this exact quad, but a quad like this, a solid bind and fly, you pay $180 to $200. These days, you pay in $300, $350 sometimes. So to get the Nazgul 5 V2 for $259, it's a damn good quad. It's a fine frame. It's a reasonably durable frame. And it's a good price. You know, if I look at the Ishin Wizard V3 coming in at $190, now to $200, coming in at $200, and this guy is $260. This is 5 times better than the Ishin Wizard. I don't know. I made that number up. It is 1,000% worth the extra money, especially because I bet you that a lot of people are going to get a dead ESC on, like, you know, flight 7. I don't know for sure, but I bet. That's historically been the case for Wizards. Their ESCs are their weak spot. So, yes, this is a great quad today at a great price. I strongly recommend that you spend the extra $60 if you're thinking about getting a Wizard. And it used to be that the Wizard came. Can you get a bind and fly? Not a bind and fly, a ready to fly. It used to be you could buy the Wizard in a ready to fly kit. At least you could argue that the Wizard came with a controller pre-bound ready to go. They don't even do that anymore as far as I can tell. So yeah, don't buy this. Buy this. This is way better. Way better. Flying Boar, thank you for a $5 super chat. What's the best place to get replacement NSK bearings? Would rather not buy a new $40 motor for a $5 or $10 part. Flying Boar, I don't know. I'm gonna look because you super chatted me, so I'm gonna at least try. But like, I don't want to kind of insult your intelligence by, I don't know, bro, Google it. But like, it's the 9x4x4 is the size of the bearing. So like on Amazon I can buy replacement bearings. Oh, it's even labeled as Zing. Is this 2 bearings or 1? This has got to be a pair. The thing is, here's the thing. You can freaking buy them from iFlight. Amazing. Oh my God, here you go. Buy it from iFlight for $6 a pair. There you go. Here's the thing though. Most 5-inch mini quad motors, almost all, use the same bearing size, 9x4x4. Many smaller ones use 9x4x4, okay? Once you get down to a certain size, they're no longer this bearing. But like if you need replacement bearings and you have a 9x4x4 bearing, you don't have to buy iFlight bearings. It's not like iFlight has special bearings. You can buy any replacement bearing as long as it's 9x4x4 size. But here you go. $6. That's where I would go. Snoopy FPV bought the iFlight Nazgul in December 2020 for $152. That hurts. And people wonder why FPV numbers are down places. Some places, some stores are not selling as much FPV stuff. Some channels are not getting as many views. I'm not going to buy into the FPV is dying message. I'm not going to go there. You know, there's always some ebb and flow. We'll see. But when a whole quadcopter costs you $160, that's still a lot of money. But it's less money than $260. That's for damn sure. I think a lot of people are getting priced out of this hobby. I think that's I think that's really indisputable. That as the price of things goes up, I mean, a lot of people in FPV are scraping every last penny together to buy. I've frankly been amazed at how much people love FPV that they will spend like all their spare money to scrape together a quadcopter, a controller, a set of goggles. And like how many parts you break and how many spares you have to buy and how expensive things are, to see people working low-wage jobs still managing to participate and love the hobby. It's amazing, it's inspiring, and it speaks to the power of the hobby. But it also, it's undeniable that as the price of stuff goes up, here's what I'm getting at. There's people in FPV who just have a shitload of money and buy a lot of stuff and just don't have to think about it very much. There's the whales, if you will. But there's a lot of people who are just barely hanging on. And as the price goes up, a lot of those people drop out. They just can't afford it anymore, I think. And there's hobbies where pretty much everybody in the hobby is like, I don't know. If you take your car to the racetrack once a month and you burn through a set of tires and, you know, a $1,500 set of tires, like, you have a lot of disposable income that you can even do that. So if the price of tires goes up by 25%, you probably still have enough disposable income to do that, you know. But with FPV, it feels like there's a huge bunch of people who are just barely hanging on because they love it so much. And when the price of a flight controller doubles, a lot of those people are just out. And I guess what I'm saying is it feels like the FPV hobby is being hurt worse by change in pricing than some other hobbies. I don't know what we can do about it. Things need to be cheaper. But I don't know how anything could be cheaper. Buy micros. Get into micros, I guess. I don't know. I've been thinking about this recently. You know, how can you stay in this hobby on a tight budget? It's very hard. And we hoped that prices would come down. There was the chip shortage. There was supply chain disruptions back in 2020. I don't remember why there was something happened in 2020 that everything got all messed up. I'm sure it's not really important. But we hoped that we would come out the other side of that and prices would come down, but of course that didn't happen. So I don't know. You got to do what you got to do. Christian Reese wants to know, can you set a motor output limit for individual motors and ESCs? No, only for the whole quad. Only for the whole quad. Sorry, I'm charging the battery for my fitness tracker. It was almost like 4% this morning, and you know I can't be missing data. I have to know what my heart rate was at all times. Sorry about that. I was just checking to see if it was topped off enough to take it off my wrist. Asalis88 says you can buy a pack of 20 bearings for $9 on Amazon. Are they actual NSK bearings? I mean, we could check. 20? I'm really shocked if you can get bearings that cheap. 10 pieces 8x22. Where are the 9x4x4 bearings? Why can't I find 9x4x4? I mean, these are all the wrong size, so. All right, well, I'm already annoyed and ready to quit. Nope. All right, well, the hell with that. The hell with that. If you can show me NSK bearings for $9 for 20 bearings, feel free to post that link. NSK 685. Nope. Why am I not finding the right bearings? What the hell? I mean, I can't even find the 9x4x4. Nope. Okay. Well, once again, I'm annoyed. So thanks for that. Let's see. Somebody suggested that Pyro had them in stock. Those are not the 8x3. Let's just search for bearing. 8x3, 8x4x3. Here's an NMB 9x4x4. That's an okay bearing too. It's $5 for two. If you're in the USA, that'll save you some shipping. Is NSK better than NMB? This is 5x11x5 though. That's not a 9x4x4. That's the wrong size. Also, it's in German. Can you put German bearings in an American motor? That's the wrong size though. All right. Boca bearings. I don't know what the difference is between NMB and NSK. All right, we're going to keep trying. 10 pieces. Okay, but this is not NS. This is not an NS. No. This is some. Of course, you can buy it for $3. What brand is this? Is this a good bearing? Don't put shitty bearings in your motors. No. Rubber seal. This. I'm not even sure this is the right bearing. A rubber seal versus a metal seal. If this, I would not put. Who the hell is Vipsic? No. You have to put high quality bearings in your motors. Don't put frickin'. Also, you don't want fully sealed bearings because they can't spin at high RPMs like our motors do. This is not the correct bearing for a quadcopter motor at all. You don't want rubber seal because it's has more friction and can't spin at a high speed. And you definitely don't want some no-name brand. I mean, for all I know, Vipsic is a great brand. I've never heard of them. You want like good quality Japanese bearings. Mike Bergman says Vipsic are the best. Are you trolling? He's kidding. Okay. Yeah, no. All right. I think we've worn out that topic. Okay. YouTube is receiving excellent connection from me. I can't imagine what would affect all of you. It's pretty weird. Looks like I get to go play Rimworld for an hour. No. I think YouTube is having a problem. Oh, people are saying I'm back. Okay, I got to tell you guys, I mean, that's pretty weird. You can see right here, I have 0 dropped frames on my end, and YouTube says excellent connection the whole time. I'm completely at a loss as to what could have caused that. It seems like YouTube had a little bit of a burp on the outbound side, which is, I mean, can't imagine what could cause that, but there you go. Looks like we're back though. Hopefully the how'd we do? Oh, flip. We lost everyone. Oh well. Yeah, that's a weird one. Usually when there's a disruption, it's on my end. This time it was not. Pretty weird. Well, hope you guys are back. We got any outages on YouTube? I have no idea. Yeah. I know. I can't imagine. I mean, realistically, it's more likely to be me than YouTube. But it sure seems like YouTube had a little bit of a fart. Anyway, we're back. And now my viewers are down to 190 from 400. So that's too bad. Yeah, everybody saw it keep repeating the pad you remapped to. That's really weird. YouTube had some kind of an issue. Well, I guess we should just get back on with the stream, though. And let's just talk about it some more. Flying Boar says, my bearings are 11 by 5 by 5, not 9 by 4 by 4. Oh, F you. Well, that's not very helpful. Did you tell me what motors you had? iFlight Zing 3106. Ah, I see. Well, 11 by 5 by 5. I mean, can we search for this replacement bearing? AliExpress NSK bearing 9 by 4 by 4. That's not right. Banggood has the bearings for $9. I'm not sure I would be excited to buy from them. Surely iFlight has them, right? Surely iFlight has them. No. Wow. NSK 685. Oh, so it looks like Sander Dubronner was giving me the right link after all. NSK 685. Because he noticed the correct size of your bearing. But I can't even search for NSK 685. 5 by 11. This isn't a useful search. This isn't a useful search. This is not helpful. No, I can't answer this question. Can anybody sell me these? Motors. Yeah, I see the problem, Flying Boar. NSK doesn't sell on Amazon. Oh, well, that makes sense. Can we buy it from Brother Hobby? NMB will do. Let's see. 5 by 11 by 1? 11 by 5 by 5. There you go. So, flying boar, it looks like you can buy from the Brother Hobby store. Sorry for missing that detail, flying boar. Apologize for that. Looks like Brother Hobby has them for sale. I see that it's very difficult to find them in stock anywhere, pretty much anywhere. It's really a shame you can't buy direct. But it doesn't seem like you can. They want to tell me about their products, but they don't want to sell me their products. So I probably would buy from Brother Hobby then. Well, that's something. Thank you, Above FPV, for £5, and welcome back. Dmitry Kalinin wants to know, thank you for a €10 super chat. Why does nobody talk about the fact that the DJI Avada flies longer than any other FPV Cinewhoop with basically the same motors, props, and frame on top? Do we have to expect a revolution in ESC firmware? Dimitri, it's not. I don't think it's their ESCs that give them their longer flight time. They are designed extremely lightweight. DJI drones are lightweight for. I mean, obviously, nobody accused the FPV drone of being lightweight, but and nobody accused it of having extremely good flight time. To be fair, one of the things DJI does though is they build their drones lightweight. This can compromise their durability. It doesn't always. But I think you're going to find that many Cinewhoops are more durable than the Avada. But the other thing they do is, and a lot of people don't know this, I knew a person who wanted to be able to use DJI batteries in a hobby drone for a project. And what they would do is they would take a DJI battery charger and they would extract the receptacle that the battery plugs into from the charger, and they would build it into their drone with a 3D printed housing so that they could plug a DJI battery into their drone and it would hook up to a Betaflight flight controller. Okay, why did they do this? It's not important for the story. When they did this, the battery was at 4.5 volts. And I was flying this drone and I said, is that right? Is your battery at 4.5 volts? And he said, yep. And that's how I learned that DJI overcharges their batteries to 4.5 volts. And that's a big reason why they get so much better flight time than everybody else. Fact. Now, I don't know that DJI does this on all of their drones. I only know that the battery pack that they were using. But when you ask, why does the Avada get so much longer flight time than similar drones? I would argue, I mean, there's probably a way to test this with like a multimeter or whatever. But it was only because, they don't show you battery voltage. DJI doesn't. They just show you percentage. How do they charge their batteries to 4.5 volts without destroying them or lighting them on fire? That's the trick. That's the trick. I don't know. I don't know how so listen, don't just start charging your LiPos to 4.5 volts. You will light them on fire sooner rather than later. How does DJI do it? I don't know. But when you see the amazing flight time of DJI, it's at least somewhat the battery technology, not just the design of the quad, although the design of the quad is exceptional. In Mavics, you can see the voltage. Are you saying that the Mavic only charges to 4.2? Like, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that on their larger drones, they achieve long flight time through engineering efficiency, efficient props, lightweight, efficient motors, etc. They were using the batteries from the DJI FPV drone in this project, and pretty sure they were charged to 4.5. Maybe that's true for the Avada as well. I don't know. Maybe somebody could look into it. Savas Loanides says Mavic batteries are charging to 4.4 volts. Okay. Other people confirming this, or at least agreeing with me, if not confirming. Tweet FPV, thanks for a $2 super chat. Salty Smurf, thank you for a $10 super chat. Just got the pre-tuned Vanny CL1. It's vibrating or jittering every few seconds. You can see it in the DVR. Listen, Salty Smurf, that sounds like a gyro problem, and sounds like the filters are too aggressive. What I don't know what the tune is that's on it, but if I had to fix that problem, I would go into the filters tab and I would move the filter sliders to the left 1 or 2 clicks. But here's the thing, Salty Smurf. You paid through the nose for that pre-tuned Vanny 2021 whatever. Let's look. Let's go to Rotor Riot. Vanny style built and tuned. All right. That's actually a pretty fair. Is that Fat Shark? A DJI? Save $100. I see they're knocking $100 off of it. Normal price for this is $615. $615 for a DJI. Let's see, Fat Shark, $609, about the same. Analog, $562. Here's the thing. If you pay this much, that's a fair markup. But you better get a quad that flies good out of the box. And by the way, don't take this as like I'm ranting about Rotor Riot. I guarantee you that whoever it was at Rotor Riot, Tyler who runs the warehouse, or Drew, I guarantee you they will 100% agree with me. This is a markup. $562 for an analog quad with a $100 discount now, but normal price $562. You can get a really good iFlight bind and fly for $350. So why did you pay $562? Oh, okay, only $462. Why did you pay that extra money? You paid for it to be excellently built by the beautiful people down in Orlando, Florida. And you paid for it to fly great out of the box, just like Vanover's quad would. So if you got it and it's twitching and shit, don't take this the wrong way. Don't ask me how to fix it. You can ask me how to fix it. I'm happy to help you. Ask Rotor Riot how to fix it. Now, if you bought it, you crashed it into the ground 15 times, beat the shit out of it, and now it's being weird, that's different. But if it came out of the box, it should fly perfect. That's why you paid the extra money to get the Vanny style, built and tuned. That's where the extra money went. And if you didn't get that, you need to be blowing up their support line. Although at the moment, I think they're back in business after the hurricane, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay? And I guarantee you that the folks at Rotor Riot agree with that sentiment and want you to have a perfect quad. But here's the thing. Anytime you do a built-in tuned drone, some of the people who get that drone are going to have a bad experience. And here's why. The perfect PIDs depend on the environment, not just the quad. The number one environmental factor that affects PIDs is air density. You need higher PIDs at 10,000 feet AGL, MSL, at 10,000 feet above sea level than you do at sea level, because the air is thinner, so the props make less thrust. And in fact, a lot of people at high elevation use higher pitch props to compensate. But if you ship a bind and fly, you have to try to hit a happy medium where it flies good for somebody at sea level and good for somebody in Denver, Colorado, or whatever their elevation is, 8,000 feet or something. And you're not going to get it right every time. So usually a bind and fly is undertuned because they don't know where it's going, and they'd rather have it be a little soft than a little. But here's the thing. You didn't say that you were getting like prop wash oscillation. You said you're getting twitch, twitch, twitch. And those twitches feel like, I haven't seen it obviously, it feels like a gyro problem to me, and that's not related to the PID tune. That's mechanical, electrical, and you should absolutely ask them to fix that for you or to tell you how to fix it. Okay? Yep, Christopher Raff, exactly. Part of that extra money is after-sales support. You paid for it. You should get it. And I feel bad because a lot of people in FPV are accustomed to getting no support. They spend their money, and then when their shit doesn't work, they ask me for help. And that's worked out really well for me because a lot of FPV companies have no support. And then I have a profitable Patreon from people who are happy that I helped them. If every company in FPV had amazing customer support, people wouldn't need me as much to help solve their problems and educate them. So thank you, companies, for having terrible customer support and making it possible for me to do what I love full time. But some companies do have good customer support. And I would hope that Rotor Riot's one of them. And if not, then I'll be sad. I'll be disappointed, and I'll make sad faces in the next company meeting. we don't have company meetings. iFlight's another one. Great customer support. There will always be stories of people who are unhappy. There's always somebody out there that you didn't make happy. So, I mean, the fact that there are horror stories out there, I'm sure there's people, I know for a fact there's people who emailed me with a question and then didn't like the way that I responded and went around saying Bardwell's a jerk. So everybody has customers out there who don't feel they did the right thing by them. But in general, I think there's companies that do well, and I want Rotor Riot to be one of them. So, Michael D, thank you for a $5 super chat. I believe the Avada battery is lithium ion. I mean, whatever it is. You can't charge a lithium ion to 4.5 volts either, can you? Can you? I don't know. Garrett Pickens says his Mavic Air 2 goes to 4.35, but not 4.5. Christopher Viken, thank you for 109 Swedish kroner. I don't see a question from you, Christopher. Are you just making a donation? Thank you for your donation, Christopher. Yeah. What I was going to say is many companies have no support, so people are used to just asking for help and solving the problem themselves. But you should, when you pay extra for a premium product, you should get support with it, and you should give the company the chance to make it right. You shouldn't spend hours and hours trying to solve it yourself. That's what you paid for. So. Alrighty. Let's see how my stream is doing. Am I back up? Oh, I'm kind of back up to where I was. That's good. Thank you guys for coming back. Appreciate that. Drone Camps RC should really be a moderator, shouldn't he? He's a notable. I make people moderator just so their name shows up in blue. so I can see when they're in the chat. Drone Camps RC is in the chat. He should really be. I should really, see him coming. Use your moderator powers responsibly, Drone Camps. Swift69, thank you for a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for that donation. Drone Camps, please don't feel at all obligated to moderate. Literally the only reason I make people moderate, I mean, some of them moderate, and I do appreciate that. But please don't feel any obligation to moderate. I just like when people are in chat that I'm like, oh, it's so-and-so's here. Isn't that nice? I make them a moderator so their name shows up in blue. Huff19, I don't see any reason why LED workshop lights would cause burn-in or anything for OLED goggle screens. NZM FPV has been trying to ask me what lenses I use for my Orcas. NZM, I use the built-in focus adjustment for my Orcas. Is that true? I would use, hang on. No. Okay, clearly I don't. So I had to check. The Orcas have built-in focus adjustment, but I also have astigmatism, and the Orcas don't quite go as far as my prescription. So I use, I think these are, yeah. I use Optic Fischer. It's a German company. They do have an English order form. Excuse me. No, here's a link to me. So I use Optic Fischer is the ones I use in my Orcas. Apache wants to know, my Acon flight controller USB port is not working. Is there a way to connect the flight controller so I can connect to Betaflight? Apache, it's going to be difficult. So, Apache, if you have DJI enabled on a UART, if you have MSP, and let me plug a flight controller in. Hang on, I'll show you the... We need to look at this, not just talk about it. Nope. Here we go. So if you already have MSP enabled on a UART, like here UART 4 has MSP enabled, see that? Then you can disconnect your air unit. You can solder an FTDI adapter to UART 4, and then you can connect to the configurator using that FTDI adapter's COM port. Once you've done that, you can then enable MSP on a separate UART. You can, and then obviously you can't be using anything else for that UART. It has to be dedicated, but you can see UART 2 here. I'm not using it for anything. You can then solder a header or something to UART 2 to let you connect your FTDI adapter to UART 2 and then reconnect your air unit on UART 4. Now, if you do not have MSP enabled on any UART, then your life gets a lot more difficult. Because what you can do, how are you going to connect to it? What you can do is you can go to the firmware flasher and show unstable releases. And what you want to choose is the USB rescue maintenance. You're going to pick your target. You're going to pick your firmware version. Looks like 4.2.11 is the latest that's available. That's interesting. Oh, maybe they stopped supporting this target. No, 4.2.11. That's interesting. Well, anyway, you can work around it. And then you have to flash your flight controller, okay? And when you flash your flight controller, the USB rescue is going to, where's the release notes for this? Load firmware. What that does is it enables MSP on UART1 by default. Okay? So, but here's the question. How are you going to flash your flight controller if your USB is broken? Okay? You got a bootstrap problem. On your... Which UARTs is it? I have to remind myself. I always go to this video just to remind myself. Okay. You can connect your FTDI adapter to UART1 or UART3. And then as the flight controller is booting up, you hit the flash button. And the flight controller, if you get the timing right, will detect the communication on UART1 and enter DFU mode on that UART. And you basically just have to plug in the flight controller and then hit flash in beta flight and cross your fingers that it goes into DFU and flashes. Once it flashes, then you'll have MSP on UART1, and then you can solder your FTDI adapter to UART1. Honestly, a lot of people would just be like, screw it, I'm buying a new flight controller. It's not worth it. If you have DJI, you're in luck because you already have MSP enabled on a different port, and that's 1000% what you should do. No, thank you for a $2 super chat. Do you believe in aliens? I think that statistically, somewhere in the universe, the universe is inconceivably large. Statistically, it's extraordinarily likely that somewhere else in the universe, life evolved. And the next question is, when did that happen? Because the universe has been around for, I don't know how long it's been. Is it billions of years? It's been around for so long that hypothetically, somewhere out there in another galaxy, an entire race of beings evolved, became technologically advanced, and then were wiped out, or wiped themselves out, or are currently living but are outside of communication range with us. Who knows? So do I believe in aliens? I think that somewhere out there in the universe, there probably is or has been some form of life. If you mean like aliens that have visited Earth, I don't think there's any evidence. I don't think there are any phenomena for which the most likely best explanation is that it's alien visitors from outer space. That's how I would put that. Thank you for your super chat. Torpedo Law, the DJI is not releasing another goggle that anyone knows of. The Goggle 2 is the new goggle. ZFPV says, dude, there's history going back centuries of strange flying craft. Definitely not our tech. ZFPV, you are drawing conclusions in that statement that are not supported by evidence. So what do you mean when you say history of strange flying craft? What you mean is there was something in the air. There was a light moving in the sky. Let's not even talk about the fact that when you go back centuries, there weren't cameras. There was just a monk somewhere who saw something and wrote it down, or a village of thousands of people who saw a phenomena and described it. But you say a strange flying craft. No, there isn't. There's no phenomena of a flying craft. A craft, an aircraft, a craft presumes that it is a vehicle that was constructed and built by an intelligent entity. By using the word craft, you are already abandoning reason, because you are accepting, you're slipping the conclusion into the conversation that it was a craft. There is a phenomena. Let's describe a phenomena. A village of people reports seeing lights in the sky moving in a certain way. Okay, what is the likely explanation for that? What evidence do we have? If you think that is best explained by intelligent aliens from outer space building a spaceship, flying it through the universe to our planet, and then flying around, I disagree that that is the most sort of rational, likely, consistent with all of the information that we have explanation. You say definitely not our tech. Why? When there are flying lights in the sky moving in a weird and interesting way, why do you assume it's an aircraft? Why do you assume it's technology? All we know is there was something that I saw in the sky moving in a weird way that I couldn't explain. That's literally all we have for like all of these UFO sightings. You know, this is a true story. I once in my life saw a UFO. I'm not making this up. I might have been in where was it? I think I was probably in the 8th grade, 9th grade, however old that is. And it was nighttime, and I was at a school, it was like a school dance or something. And I had stepped outside of the building to get some air. And I looked up in the sky, and I saw what I could only conclude was a UFO. It was lights, and the lights were moving in a strange, unreal way that I couldn't parse. And it wasn't an airplane. I couldn't tell what it was. And it seemed like it was moving towards me. And I distinctly remember thinking, the fuck, is this really happening? Or something along those lines. And yet, no matter how much I stared at this object in the sky, I could not make it resolve into an airplane or anything. It was moving way too slow to be an airplane. There was no sound like, oh, it's a helicopter. And this light was moving, and I was like, what the fuck? Are aliens about to land? Am I seeing a UFO right now, really? And as it got closer, I realized that it was a blimp. It was a blimp in the night sky with lights on its side, and the angle that it was approaching me at, I couldn't see the message on the side of the blimp, buy hot dogs. It was just sort of moving. And because the blimp was drifting one way and the letters on the side of the blimp were moving the other way, it created this weird otherworldly effect. And as it got closer, then I could see the light reflecting off the actual balloon instead of just the lights on the side of the blimp. And I went, oh, it's a blimp. Okay, thank God. But that's... And I think there's a lot of wisdom in that story. Because I swear I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have a UFO sighting. I can't believe this is really happening. And I just sat there and I stared at it and waited to see what would happen next. And it turned out to be a blimp. But if I had gone right back inside, the story would have ended before I figured out what the hell it was. So, ZFPV, stop arguing. CFPV, I'm not arguing that the thing you saw was a blimp. I don't know what you saw. You need to expand your perspective. I'm not debating you about the specific thing you saw. I'm just telling you that if you saw lights moving through the sky quickly, the most plausible explanation is not that it was an alien spacecraft from another planet. There's no point in arguing this. You know, you could think what you think. Like I said, if I had gone inside before I had realized it was a blimp, I'd be convinced to this day that I had seen an unidentified flying object, but not necessarily aliens. A UFO, I will accept. A UFO just means I saw something flying and I don't know what it was. That is a perfectly reasonable perspective to take. Ignorance is sometimes the only intellectually honest position to take. Auntie, I have to say I think I was relieved. There was a moment where I was excited. I was like, oh my God, aliens are real. I'm about to meet one. I was a little excited. But then relieved that it resolved into something that made sense. Alrighty, let's move on. JB saw a UFO. Livestream Clips channel. That's a good one. That's the kind of thing that if you don't watch the whole live stream, you're going to miss a little beautiful stuff like this. Sunshine, thank you for a $10 super chat. Trying to figure out bidirectional D-shot tuning. I posted a video link on the Discord stream. Personal footage. Okay, Sunshine, I'll look at your video. I am going to look at your video, but there's no tuning involved with bidirectional D-shot. You just turn it on, and then it works. So let's look at what you're actually asking. You trying to tune the filters, maybe? So, hang on. We need sound for sure. And the live stream needs sound too. Do we have sound? Okay, we do have sound. Let me make sure you guys are going to hear it as well. Let me turn it up slightly. No, I'll leave it. What are we looking at here? That is not prop wash. Okay, so to answer your first question, that's 100% not prop wash. Because prop wash doesn't happen at the end of flips and rolls. Prop wash happens when falling into your own turbulent air from the prop. So during a split S or during when you just drop throttle and descend straight down. That's 100% not prop wash. So right there was a time when prop wash might have happened. When you made that turn and were descending, prop wash might have happened. It didn't, but it might have. Right there. Okay, so what that is you've got your P gains. Your P gains are way too high. And your P gains are just barely being held back by what I would guess is also a really high D gain. So what this looks like to me is a classic overtune scenario where you crank your P gains up and that will make you have a lot of bounce back and oscillation. But then you crank your D gains up and that kind of barely holds back the P term. And if they're in balance, you'll have a great flying quad. But you've gone too far. Sunshine says PIDs are stock. Well, shit. This looks to me like really excessive P gain. Oh, yeah. Wow. Let's listen to the high throttle passes. Oof. You know, that's bad. So this doesn't sound like the trilling oscillation of excess D gain. What quad is it? Aber. Not Aber, Sunshine. Sunshine, what quad is it? This sounds like P-term oscillation. D-term oscillation will have a trilling kind of overtone characteristic. It'll sound kind of like... Whereas P-term oscillation sounds like... I don't know if that helps at all. Your props sound like this is a 3-inch. Is it a 5-inch? These are super high pitched. What props are you using? All right. I can't imagine why... I can't imagine why a 5-inch Alien on stock PIDs would have this problem. It's got to be mechanical. It has to be a mechanical problem. But mechanical problems usually cause hot motors and D-term oscillation, not P-term oscillation. But Sunshine says quad blade props. It could be related. It's hard to say. You're on 1.1. That shouldn't cause this problem. That's pretty extreme. This is pretty out there. This is not relevant to the tune. So, wait. I wanted to see your PIDs. You didn't show me your PIDs. You didn't show me your PIDs. How do you show me your filters but not your PIDs? It's gotta be gyro low pass 1 is off. Can you turn gyro low pass? I don't think this doesn't feel like a filtering problem. A filtering problem would manifest as hot motors or trilling oscillation. This sounds like a P-term oscillation to me. Nevertheless, put the filters back to default, Sunshine. Does the problem go away? Have you tried default filters? Like you've got gyro low pass 1 off and you've got your filters at 1.1. This doesn't feel like the kind of problem that would happen by having your filters not turn this way. But I would still try to go back to default. I wonder if the 4-blade props, you say you're using 4-blade props. Can you try 3-blade props and see if that, maybe the 4-blade props are making too much thrust and making it seem like there's excess P gain. Like having more pitch on the props will make it seem like your PIDs are higher. Can you try it on 3-blade props? Or go to the master slider and turn the master slider down a couple notches. Sunshine says before bidirectional D-shot, it didn't do this. Sunshine, what about, yeah, I can't see, you didn't show the motors tab. What about your pole count? Have you set the pole count to 14? That is the default pole count, so I assume. Willie. Why you gotta be a dick, Willie? I'm literally talking to someone in the Discord right now, Willie. Does Joshua Bardwell read his chat with questions? Is there any chance of a reply to the live stream? Or is it alternative world here? I'm literally replying to someone who asked a question in the chat, and now we're talking in the Discord. Why do people say things like that? Just watch the damn stream. You'll see me reply to people. Sunshine, do you have error counters? Oh, I'm sorry. Now I'm being a jerk to Willie. Yes, Willie, I do read the chat. I do read it. Sorry, I thought it was being snarky. I don't know why I read that as snarky, Willie. Shouldn't have jumped down your throat. Like I'm literally talking to someone right now. Okay. Sorry, Willie. Thank you for being a patron, Willie. Appreciate your support. And oh, such an asshole. Okay. You got a leaf on your name because you're a noob. I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. Oh, well, that's interesting. I actually didn't know that. I do read the chat, Willie. I do. I got the Discord right here. I don't know why I assume that. I always assume that people are like attacking me. I don't know why I do that. Okay. Motor errors? Could it be motor errors? I don't know why RPM filter would cause this. Honestly, I don't. If the pole count is correct. Are you sure nothing else changed? Try tri-blades and try lowering. Yeah. If it only started doing it when you enabled RPM filtering, that's pretty weird. I don't know why it would cause that. Okay. Did anything else change? Sunshine? Did anything else change? Other than turning on bidirectional. Here's what I would say. Turn bidirectional back off and see if the problem goes away. That's a good tip. If you're like working on something and you like, let's say you turn on bidirectional D-shot and suddenly the quad starts doing something weird. And you're like, well, bidirectional D-shot must have caused this. Turn it back off again and see if the problem goes away. Sometimes the problem is not related to the last thing you changed. Sometimes it's just a coincidence. So that's something. Maybe it's not related to bidirectional. Try that, Sunshine. Turn bidirectional off and see if the problem goes away or not. 661 FPV points out that it doesn't look like dynamic filter got adjusted. Is that right? What should the dynamic filter be, 661? Thank you for that tip. Oh, Sunshine says, oh, wait, I started using 6S instead of 5S after the switch. That could be related. Oh, frankly, based on the KV of the motor you said, I still don't think it should be doing this, but that is relevant. That is relevant. Okay. Let's check your dynamic notch filter though. If we go to PID tuning, filter settings. Yes. So, Sunshine, make your dynamic. I don't know. Wait a minute. What version of Betaflight are you on? Are you on Betaflight 4.2? On Betaflight 4.3, there's a slider here to turn the dynamic notch on and off, and you don't have that. And on Betaflight 4.3, when you enable the RPM filter, it automatically adjusts your dynamic notch to look like this. Can you make your dynamic notch look like this and see if that helps? Try that. Okay. It doesn't look like 4.3. You have to make that change manually in 4.2. So try those things, Sunshine. All right, Willie, I apologize, Willie. I'm sorry I jumped at you. I appreciate your support. I like you being in the server. And I don't know. I guess I just was a little touchy right that minute. So I apologize, man. Hopefully, I would hate that, like, the very first comment you made in the live stream, then I snapped at you, and then you feel bad and, like, have a bad day. That would make me feel bad. Alrighty. 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 We got about 7 minutes left in the stream. Aaron Ciotti is going to be streaming at 3 p.m. I especially pride myself on being, you know, welcoming to noobs and helpful to noobs. That's like literally my whole deal. So I feel especially bad that I was a jerk to you. Aaron Ciotti is going to be streaming at 3 p.m. and he's probably going to start posting that link if you guys want to keep the streaming going. Let's take a question here from Willie. An actual question. When he perfectly reasonably asked, hey, does Bardwell answer questions here? And somehow I took that as an insult. I would like to convert my Beta FPV 95X Whoop to a similar like Crux 3. Question about frame props and so on. Okay, so, Willie, what you want to do for people who don't know what a Crux 3 is you want to get a toothpick. Okay? What I would suggest you do to begin with is just get a toothpick frame. Do you have a... Is it a toothpick flight controller? It is. That's a 25mm flight controller, so you're okay there. So what I would suggest you do is get either the FPV cycle. Actually, I'm gonna do you a solid, Willie. Because I was a jerk to you, I'm gonna do something I normally wouldn't do. We're working on a toothpick page on my website. It's not ready yet. Hello, can we open the Trello board? There we go. But I'm going to show it to just you, Willie. Not the rest. Not the rest of the chat. You guys, everybody else, cover your eyes. We're working on a toothpick page. I'm going to give you the URL. If you're looking for parts, there you go. But what I would suggest you do is start with either the FPV Cycle TP3 frame or the... Hey, wait a minute. That's supposed to be the Chris Rosser frame. Why is... So, like I said, the page is still in progress. Now, you don't have to make any changes to your hardware. You can just keep this... I think the motors should mount. The electronics should mount. You may need to modify the canopy. But if you want to start branching out with, like, you know, bigger motors or something to get a little more performance, that's fine. But what I would say is just get this frame and move your hardware over. That's how I would start. I don't know why this is supposed to be the Chris Rosser frame. It used to be the Chris Rosser frame. Now, apparently, it isn't. I'm sure the webmaster will get to that soon. What classifies a drone as a toothpick? Good question. And as we say at the beginning of this page, the definition of a toothpick is open to interpretation. A toothpick used to be a 65mm whoop and just converted to an open prop design. It has gone and used with 3-inch props. It has changed a lot since then, and the definition has definitely expanded. So the definition has definitely expanded. Mark T, thank you for a £5 super chat. Alrighty. Acroweeboo says 1106 is a bit heavy for that frame. It usually uses 1102. Has his 95mm got 1106s, Acroweeboo? Does he need to step down on the motors? Ciotti doesn't seem to recommend the 1102s. Ciotti either does the FPV Cycle Light 13, the Flywoo 1203, RCN Power 1204. That's not a... That doesn't seem like a 1S KV, though. What is the 95 on 3S? It's not on 1S. Yeah. Well. We are going to start wrapping up the live stream, though, folks. Thank you so much for being here. And Siadi, I hope you have a great stream. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. Thank you for giving me an excuse to tell my UFO story. I haven't thought of that in a long, long time. That's going to do it for the stream today. Siadi, have a great stream. Bye, everybody. Drone Camps, thanks for being here, man. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. That's it. We're going to get out of here. If you missed the UFO story, go to Joshua Bardwell Livestream clips and check it out. It'll be posted probably this week. Bye, everybody.